Hey everyone, Neltman234 here, and welcome to another episode of Forgotten Media, where I dig up some stuff you may or may not have heard of. Yeah, bet you never thought you'd see me covering something related to My Little Pony Friendship is Magic on this show. It's quite fascinating looking back at it. What started off as a simple reboot to an old franchise from the 80s quickly evolved into being more than just a girls' show, and creating a dedicated fan base outside of its target audience. Now, some of you know I'm a fellow brony as well who likes the show and all that. Heck, if you go on my DeviantArt account and browse through my favorites folders, you'll pretty much know that I have an unhealthy amount of Fluttershy, Sweetie Belle, and Princess Celestia pics favorited. Well, they are some of my favorite characters from the show. At first glance, the animation caught my attention, so I decided to sit down and watch it, and I enjoyed it. And after that, I sat through all 9 seasons of the show, as well as watching all the movies and the Equestria Girls specials. So for this episode, we're going to be taking a look at some MLP topics related to the literature world of Friendship is Magic. Now, when it comes to official written media for Friendship is Magic, everyone would immediately think of the MLP comics made by IDW. They've made a lot of comics, and they also been doing this recent Season 10 tag that continues on with the show, as well as a My Little Pony and Transformers crossover. Now, it's only a matter of time until IDW makes a Sonic and MLP crossover. Anyway, these comics act as an expanded universe for the show, exploring new locations, meeting new creatures, and giving characters some more backstory and character development, whether it was the main series or the many side series, miniseries, and one-shot comics that they've done. With how popular the MLP comics are, it's surprising that the official MLP chapter books are usually ignored and not brought up very often. Some of them are just loose adaptations like the Equestria Girls related books, but there are a lot of original stories in there, like the Crystal Heart Spell, where we get some backstory on how Princess Cadance became an alicorn. And there's also a story that involves Lyra and Bonbon being members of that secret agent organization that was mentioned in episode 100. Heck, there's even a real-life Daring Do book trilogy featuring Daring Do and her many adventures. I would like to cover all of these one day, but for this episode, I'm going to be focusing on one specific book series, which was actually my first experience with the MLP chapter books, and that is Ponyville Mysteries, a 6-volume book series that was first published on July 3rd, 2017, and written by Michael Vogel and Nicole Dubuc, both credited for helping out as being writers on the show. As for the books, they go under the fictional pen name Penumbra Quill. Unlike the comics that are full of a lot of illustrations, the only illustrations that these chapter books have are the front and the back cover. Inside, they're just pages and pages of text. So, just like the cute Mario Brothers spin-off episode, I'll be using Gary's mod and other drawings to recreate scenes that happen in the books to provide some visuals. These books focus on the adventures of the Cutie Mark Crusaders, Apple Bloom, Sweetie Belle, and Scootaloo. In the first book, Schoolhouse of Secrets, begins with Apple Bloom feeling annoyed of how popular and famous her big sister Applejack is for helping Ponyville stopping monsters and other things. That soon changes when a family from Transylvania, yes, that's what it says because Friendship is Magic loves their horse puns, move into a house on Horseshoe Hill, a place outside of Ponyville that's close to the Everfree Forest. During school, they meet one of the members of the new family named Lilymoon, a mysterious filly that's very quiet and not very open, and seems to know a lot about strange creatures. The CMC tried to welcome her to Ponyville, but strange things begin to happen at the school. An invisible creature has moved into the school, sticking furniture up on the ceiling. Some of the fillies blamed Lilymoon for all this, but the CMC decided to solve this mystery themselves, as Apple Bloom believes that this is her big chance to show Applejack that she can handle things too. So after some snooping around and getting more acquainted with Lilymoon's odd parents, as well as an old mare named Auntie Eclipse, they find out that the creature in the school is actually a boggle, and they have to find a way to get rid of it. In the next book, The Tale of the Timberwolf, the CMC are becoming friends with Lilymoon, as well as being introduced to Lilymoon's sister, Ambermoon, who comes off as being rude to the CMC. While attending Zipper Will's party, they are attacked by a Timberwolf, who ruins the party by causing havoc and eating up the sweets. Yeah, seems to be very uncommon for Timberwolves to be eating candy, let alone being so far away from the Everfree Forest. This whole event terrifies Sweetie Belle, even when the CMC decide to figure out what's with the Timberwolf causing so much trouble eating up all the candy in Ponyville. They later ask Sakura, who tells them that the Timberwolf attacking is actually a were-pony, a pony who turns into a Timberwolf when the moon shines. While she makes them a potion to be used to cure the were-pony, Sakura warns them that the were-pony curse will become permanent in a matter of hours. Yeah, didn't think we'd get something related to werewolves in MLP. Anyway, the book ends with Sweetie Belle learning to be brave and gives the were-pony the antidote, in a pretty epic way, lunging headfirst, shoving the antidote down its throat, all while the creature jumps at her, with her jaws wide open. So all is saved thanks to the CMC, but they still can't figure out who it was that caused this event to happen. In the next volume, Riddle of the Rusty Horseshoe, the CMC are having a sleepover at Lilymoon's house. After Applebloom teases Scootaloo about still being afraid of the Olden Pony character from the episode Sleepless in Ponyville, she runs downstairs to try and get some alone time. After knocking over a plant and having a chat with Ambermoon, she soon sees the Olden Pony standing right at her up at the stairs in real life. Although Scootaloo is the only one that can see this, but she quickly flees back to her own house. Now, when it comes to the CMC, we got to know their personal lives in the show. Applebloom being Applejack's young sister working at the farm, Sweetie Belle being Rarity's younger sister and wanting to do fun things despite Rarity being very busy with her work. But not Scootaloo. Her personal life was always kept a mystery for years, and for the most part, most people just relied on the fan theory that she was an orphan. But then this book comes out and it says, recently, Aunt Holiday and Auntie Lofty had started staying with Scootaloo when her parents were away, which was most of the time. Unlike her parents, they were always interested in what was going on in her life. Sure, nowadays it's not really a big deal because we have the episode The Last Crusade where we got to see Scootaloo's entire family. But keep in mind, Riddle of the Rusty Horseshoe was released on October of 2017. The episode didn't air until 2019. So until then, this book was our first official MLP media that gave us a glimpse into Scootaloo's personal life. I also find it interesting how in the book it mentions that her parents are not interested in Scootaloo's personal life, unlike her aunts, which is rather odd because in the episode they do generally care for their daughter. So yeah, Scootaloo's aunts, Aunt Holiday and Auntie Lofty, take care of her while her parents are away most of the time. Not much is known about them, aside from that they look after and care for her. It's also mentioned by the authors in interviews that they plan to making these characters a lesbian couple, which is interesting. Anyway, after that rough night, Scootaloo goes back to Lilymoon in the CMC after Applebloom apologizes to her. She also meets Ambermoon more often, and after chatting with her more, she learns that Ambermoon isn't so mean as they thought. She's just very lonely. But the Olden Pony comes back to haunt Scootaloo, only this time Ambermoon sees it too. And as the book continues, other ponies start to see the Olden Pony becoming more and more real, and it's gonna take a lot more than a rusty old horseshoe to stop her. For the first 3 books, it mostly focuses on a member of the Cutie Mark Crusaders overcoming an obstacle, Applebloom determined to do something without her sister's help, Sweetie Belle learning to be more brave, and Scootaloo becoming more open and understanding, rather than being judgmental. While all of this is going on, there are some epilogues and prologues in the books that reveal a mystery pony working behind the scenes, causing these events to happen, to try and obtain something. And thus the plot begins in the next 3 books. In fact, the cover for this one was what really caught my attention. In Book 4, Perryton Panic, the CMC and other ponies begin to develop nightmares, all involving some kind of strange, shadowy, deer-like creature with wings. They also have a few encounters with Princess Luna in the Dream World, as she is the ruler of the Dream World during the night. One night, she gathers all 3 of them into the Dream World for a special meeting and proceeds to dump a bit of exposition on the 3 fillies, telling them that the creature, known as the Perryton, has been causing trouble in the Dream World from its hurt, as it is a warning that some pony is trying to steal Nightmare Moon's helmet, or the Helm of Shadows as the books call it. She tells them that after Twilight Sparkle and her friends defeated Nightmare Moon and restored her back to Princess Luna, it turns out not all of Nightmare Moon's power was destroyed. Her helmet was all that was left of her former self, and still possessing dark magic. To prevent its power from being used again, Celestia and Luna hide the helmet somewhere called the Livewood, an area hidden deep within the Everfree Forest, guarded by timber wolves, and a magic seal that can only be broken by 3 matching cutie marks. She also provides a bit of backstory on how Nightmare Moon was created, being born by not just Luna's sadness and jealousy to Celestia, but also those same emotions from other ponies in the dream world. We did get a basic idea on who Nightmare Moon was in the show. Princess Luna was jealous of Celestia getting all the love and attention, so she became evil and became Nightmare Moon, and so on and so on. But they never really explained exactly how that evil form was created. And I find that interesting on how official MLP written media try and expand on Princess Luna's backstory. In fact, it reminds me a lot of the Nightmare Moon Rarity story arc in the MLP comics, where they tried to explain how Princess Luna changed from her Season 1 design to her standard design. So after that trip, the CMC, along with Lily Moon and Amber Moon, try to help the Parrington. They find the live wood and find out that Anti-Eclipse is behind all of this. But they manage to escape and save the Parrington, which Sweetie Belle gives it the nickname Smarty Hoof, which leads into the next book, Cursed Crusaders. The CMC now know that they must protect the live wood, but after finding out that one of Lily Moon's relatives is behind all this, tensions begin to rise between them and Lily Moon and Amber Moon, not too sure if they can still trust them or not. Lily Moon and Amber Moon feel betrayed, thinking that they would just turn on their new friends. And after being taken away by their parents, the main villain puts a curse on the Crusaders to try and stop meddling with her plans, thus causing the CMC to have bad luck befall on them and any pony around them. With the help of Starlight Glimmer's protective shield magic, they sneak into Horseshoe Hill to try and find answers. Scoodloo uncovers a book that teleports her to a memory of Transylvania and witnessing the sad past of Lily Moon's parents, Blue Moon and Lumination. It shows that Blue Moon was deathly ill and at the point of death, and Lumination was desperate to try and save him, and turned to Anti-Eclipse for help. This old mare, who dabbles in dark magic, agrees to help her in exchange that she and her family belong to her for whatever evil scheme she plans on doing with them. After being sent back to the present, they eventually make it out of the house when their bad luck comes back to attack them, and with the help of Discord, the spirit of chaos, they make their way to the live wood, where the CMC have to fight and defend themselves from Anti-Eclipse on their own. After a tussle and some trickery, the CMC are cured of their bad luck curse, which leads into the final book, Journey into the Live Wood, where the CMC finally explore the live wood and begin their final encounter with Anti-Eclipse and save Lily Moon and her family. And that's all I'm going to say about this volume, because I don't want to spoil too much about this big finale. And that concludes the Ponyville Mysteries chapter books. It's full of a lot of mystery and adventure, the characters overcoming obstacles, making new friends, expanding upon the lore of the franchise, and encountering mythological creatures that didn't appear in the show. Well, then again, Friendship is Magic loves their mythology, but then again, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy the show, featuring a lot of Greek mythological creatures like centaurs, minotaurs, and hydras, but they also featured creatures from other mythological cultures, like Puckwudgies and Kirin. The only complaint I have with the chapter books is that the covers are a little misleading. Like in Tale of the Timberwolf, the CMC and Pinkie Pie are setting up a trail of candy to try and attract the werepony. Well, it does happen, but Pinkie Pie's not involved with it. In fact, she's one of the suspects in possibly being the werepony. Or this one, for Cursed Crusaders. Well, they do go to a library in the book, but it's not the one in Twilight's Castle. But that's it, it's more of a nitpick anyway. After the series ended, it pretty much just fell into obscurity, just like with all the other MLP chapter books. But then in May of 2018, IDW decided to do their own take on Ponyville Mysteries by releasing a 5-issue miniseries. Now for this episode, I wanted to mainly focus on the original chapter books, but I might as well give my quick thoughts on the comic version. Just like the chapter books, the comics focus on the Cutie Mark Crusaders solving mysteries in Ponyville. Although surprisingly, Lily Moon and her family are nowhere to be seen, with the exception of a very brief mentioning in the first issue. They're all still alive after the books ended, they didn't move out or anything, they just don't show up in the comics. Man, that sucks. Compared to the small handful of characters exclusive to the MLP chapter books, Lily Moon and her family are some of the more interesting ones. But hey, at least we get to see Scoodloo's aunts again, so there's that, I guess. Man, what a progress those two have gone through. First introduced in text in chapter books, then getting physical appearances in the comics, then they got redesigned to be featured in Season 9 of the show. Anyway, unlike the chapter books that involve mysteries involving strange creatures, the comics are more simple crime-solving mysteries, and rather than having an ongoing story arc, each issue focuses on their own story. Oh no, someone's stealing hospital supplies. Who did it? Oh no, someone's stealing bowling pins from the bowling alley. Who did it? Oh no, someone's stealing a priceless artifact. Who did it? It's definitely more lighthearted this time. No strange creatures causing chaos, just regular ponies committing their crimes and having a motive for doing it, whether it's a personal reason or just trying to make a quick buck. Even if you haven't read the original chapter books, there's little to no connections to them. The comics just took the name and did their own thing with it. Overall, the comic version of Ponyville Mysteries is okay, but I personally think that the original chapter books are much better. Then again, it all depends on taste. If you're more into mysteries with strange creatures and ongoing story arc, then you check out the chapter books. But if you're more into mysteries that are a little more lighthearted and focus more on crime solving, then you check out the comics. And whether it be the comics or the chapter books, they're usually not too hard to find and go for decent prices. Whether it be finding physical copies on eBay and Amazon, or getting them digitally on your Kindle and other devices. The chapter books are released separately in 6 volumes, but there is also the Cutie Mark Chronicles Volume 1 that combines the first 3 books into one volume. Currently, there is no second volume that combines the last 3 books, so you still have to get books 4, 5, and 6 separately. As for the comics, they were also released separately, as well as being reprinted into a graphic novel that combines all 5 issues. So in closing, the Ponyville Mystery chapter books are entertaining and very underrated. If you're a fan of the show, or if you just want to see the Cutie Mark Crusaders on more adventures, they're definitely worth checking out. Well, that wraps up this episode of Forgotten Media, so this is Melting Man 234 signing out.